Happy Memorial Day, friends. Creative Juice by Lonnie here with you today. And I'm still away from my craft room, so I'm making sure everything's running smoothly before we get started with a little fun fold project today using my favorite suite in the catalog. So let me get you a little bigger here so you can say hi. And if you happen to be crafting at home today, would you please say hello so I know that you are here? And if you are watching this on replay, say replay. Tell me what your plans are for beautiful Memorial Day. We are just finishing up a very long babysitting gig as grandparents for a couple of our cute grandbabies in Maryland. So this is my new favorite suite. And of course, you could tell that because it has some oranges and it has lemons and it has all these beautiful papers. In fact, this suite comes with, and you can order these items individually as well. So this beautiful paper, I wanted to show you a little closer view of one side and the other. Some of these images also are able to be die cut using the die cuts that match the stamps. So the Citrus Blooms stamp set has these images and sentiments, as well as beautiful frame, a little floral, leafy green frame that you could use with or without the extra frame around it. And as I said, some of these images on the paper can also be die cut. So you can use your die cuts for not only the stamped images, but the paper images. So if you don't want to color, you can just do that. You can just cut it out and be ready to go, which we're going to do today. Actually, because when I was packing up, I knew I had a very small amount of room to pack crafting supplies with me. So planned ahead. So we're going to be using this. This is the Mediterranean paper. As I said, you can order them individually, or you can do the whole suite, which comes with the dies, the stamp set, the paper, these beautiful opal rounds assortment as well. So you get one of each of those for $83. And of course, you can get those at Creative Juice by Lonnie. So let's get right into crafting. I'm going to move these things aside. So I am going to start with this is a squash card. If you've never made a squash card, you're in for a treat. It's kind of a old things are new again project, but I love sharing very simple fun folds with you so that if you are a beginning stamper, anybody can do this. Got it? All right. We're going to start with an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. This is pumpkin pie. I'm going to cut it so that it is square. So we're going to cut it down to 8.5 by 8.5. Open up my arm on my Stampin' Trimmer. And using the dark blade, cut it in half. Now we're going to do a little bit of scoring. Keep your extra piece so you can use that for other little things that you may want on your card. We're going to score it in half at 4 1/4, using the light blade this time. So the light gray blade. Then turn it 90 degrees and do 4 1/4 again. Very easy so far. You've got it this way and that way. Now we're going to flip our cardstock over, put it into the trimmer diagonally right along the line. There's a word for it. I'll come up with it. The cutting track. There's the word I'm looking for. And you want it to go point to point. So we're going to also score it that way, right? Just one direction. Doesn't matter which direction it is, just diagonally. So you have 3 score lines. Move that aside for a moment if I've got some room on my son-in-law's desk. All right, we're going to do, let me move that. We're going to fold this. Now, I did not bring my bone folder, but I do have the lid to my paper snip. So I'm going to use that as my bone folder. You want to fold so that if you look at your score line, one of them is indented. That one is actually going to be on the outside. So we're going to score or fold rather along those score lines and give it a nice crisp push with our makeshift bone folder. Then open it up all the way up, and the same thing, you want to look for that diagonal fold, and wherever the indent is, that's going to be on the outside. So it's very counterintuitive. You would think that the indent you want to be on the outside, but as I've explained before, you've broken the fibers of your paper, and that will give you a much nicer crease. Okay, our card is mostly done, and you can see how this is going to squash. Before I continue, I do want to point out that this could be done with a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock as well, creating a 6-inch square card, or it could be a scrapbook page that you create, add your photos to, squash it down just like this, and mail if you had a 6x6 card. Okay, let's go. Just a second. We're going to take this one off, and this is where you can get all of the supplies if you, there we go, if you would like to create this or make your own fun projects with these products. Okay, so now we have a 4¼ inch square card. It's squashed down. That's why we call it a squash card. This is what else you will need. You will need 2 3½ inch squares. We're going to cut those diagonally to go on the inside. And one side has the blue design on it, and the other side has the orange design. For the front of our card, we need a 3 3/4 inch square. Okay. And then we need one of those for the outside, and then 2 3 3/4 inch squares for the inside, however you want to. This will be the place that you write on the inside of your card. If you are doing a scrapbook page, these might become square pieces for your photos would be these. Okay. So let's just embellish this quickly so you can see what I'm doing, so you can see how it turns out. And it is so fun because it does fit into one of our regular envelopes. So I'm going to put the blue piece here. I have die cut a piece of the designer series paper already for us. I'm just worried I'm going to forget some of this stuff and leave it here on my son-in-law's desk, but hopefully he'll send it to me. We're going to put this on with some dimensionals. No guest today. My husband decided to take the littles and go play at the park. So we have less help, but it's not nearly as cute without my cute little helper. I'm going to put this down here, I think. Okay, so we've got the front of our card almost done. Let's just add a sentiment. I have this stamp that says, "You're the best kind of person." I think I'm going to stamp that onto a white scrap that I have right here. See how it looks in white. And just with my black Memento Tuxedo black ink. Okay, that's going to be great. I think we're going to just trim it down a little bit. Try not to smudge it as I'm trimming. This is where the paper trimmer would come in handy, but I'm just going to put my trimmers flush against the edge as I'm cutting. Try to get as close as I can to a straight. I like it. I like it. We're just going to put that right on as well. So one side with a dimensional, some seal on the other side. This is a different version of the card that I made for on stage. Then you open up your card. If you need to do any stamping on these pieces before you put them in, these pieces, then you'd want to do that first in case you make a mistake. You always do the stamping first. If you make a mistake, you've got the other side to fix it with. So we'll just do a couple of little flowers in the corner right down there. Maybe some up here. Add one more. We'll take this off on the other side. Okay. So as you can see, if I had made a mistake, I could take my papers and turn it over, right? Okay, so we'll put these all in here. This is a really, if you have had company and you've taken some pictures, some photos while they're here, we've taken a million photos visiting our kids, babysitting our grandkids. You could put the photos on these pages, fold it up, mail it to them, and say, thank you for coming. Wouldn't that be a nice gift? I love that. One last thing I want to put, see if I can find it, because I've stacked all my stuff right here. It says, you're the best kind of person. I'm going to say all the love on the inside. Should have had that out ready to go, but I didn't, so apologies. Putting all my dirty ones on the back so I can clean it off after we're done. All the love. Okay. So we have these extra spaces here. This is where those smaller squares come in handy. Somewhere I have them right here. They are also 3 3/4 inches. Well, one of them is. I don't know what happened to the. Oh, they're right here. Right here, 3 3/4 inches. No, these are 3.5 inches. I said that wrong. The 3 3/4 were the white ones and the one on the front. These are 3.5 inch squares. Do what I do, not what I say. All right, we're going to cut these in half diagonally. So I'm pulling back in my paper trimmer. And it doesn't really matter which direction. If you had a direction on your paper, this one has a slight direction. You'd want to make sure that they were going in the same places. And I'm going to kind of just double check here. Now that I say that, this is the way I want to do it. The same direction that these triangles go in. So I think I did that right. Yep. All right, that's the one that I want here. And then you can flip it over and do this one on the top. Same thing for the bottom. All right. This time I'm going to do that. You want to make sure that the direction of your patterns was going in the correct way. This time I'm going to put the oranges on top and the patterns on the bottom. And then we're pretty much done with this whole card besides writing and mailing it. So we'll put those right in here like this. And then the pattern on the other side and vice versa in the corner. Have you ever made a squash book before, or squash album, squash card? Or is this the first time you've seen it? Are you a new stamper? Or have you been around for a long time and said, yes, I recognize this project, but it's just easy and quick to make. Okay, trying to kind of line it up. I wanted to line up, the edges, if I can, somewhat with the edges down here, so they're all even. Then you push the diagonal sides in, and your card folds closed like that. What do you think? Hopefully you enjoyed that. Now you can add, if you'd like to stamp something on the front of your envelope or the back of your envelope, you can do that. But it does fit into our regular envelope so that it's mailable, ready to go. And it can be for any occasion because it's like you're the best kind of person. Apparently you ought to take off the back of your dimensional to make it stick to the front. There you go. Now it's stuck. Now it's stuck down. So will you try this one? If you give this a try and you happen to be in my Creative Juice Crafters Corner VIP group, I would love to see your version, whether you use the same products or whatever you have on hand at home. That's what you could be doing this weekend, this day on Memorial Day. If you're doing some crafting, try this out, this very simple project, and share your version there with us. We'd love to see it. We'd love to see it. All right. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for letting me serve your creative needs. We'll be back next Monday, the beginning of June. That'll be we'll be into a new month, ready to do some summertime stamping. Can't wait. All right. Thank you for joining me today. Thanks for letting me help you squeeze your creative juice.